Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Freebeat, where I post new music-related content every single day. So if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Let's get started. Today, we've got the Teenage Engineering OPZ, and we are going to be talking about punch-in effects. Now, much like the pocket operators, you've got a whole bunch of punch-in effects on the OPZ that can drastically affect your song. A lot of people know that if you hold track and go to the icon of the little person right there, the stick figure, then all of a sudden, all of these keys down here turn into punch-in effects. But there's actually an easier way to get to the punch-in effects if you don't want to switch tracks. So to demonstrate this, let's build up a little song here, a little groove. Let's just do something like we always do. Kick drum's gonna go on 1, and then on 3 and the and of 3. Snare drum will go on 2 and 4, and that might be it. Pretty simple. Let's get the click out of here. Maybe let's bump up the tempo just a little bit. There we go. So really quick before we do this, we are going to jump back to the performance track, and I'm going to show you how this works here. Now there are 12 punch-in effects, and you might be thinking, but there's 24 keys. Well, you are right. When you are on the performance track like we are here, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 punch-in effects. These right here affect the drum tracks. And then starting with this F right here, the second F, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. These are the same exact punch-in effects, but they affect the synth tracks. Now, I'm not going to play anything here because the little groove that we've come up with only uses the drum tracks. So let's jump back, let's say, to the kick drum track. So now to access punch-in effects from here, we need to hold the shift key. And now that we're holding the shift key, we can access all of the punch-in effects. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then again. Only this time, the first octave here only affects the track that we are on. So in this case, it will only affect the kick drum track, not the snare or the hi-hat track. The second octave of the same punch-in effects here, starting at this F once again, applies to all of the tracks in the particular group that you're in. What do I mean by group? Well, there's two groups: drum tracks, synth tracks. So since we're on the kick drum track, if I were to hold shift and use, starting at this F, one of these punch-in effects, it would affect the kick drum track, the snare drum track, the cymbal track, and the auxiliary / sample track. So let's see what it sounds like. Again, we're on the kick drum track, so let's play our groove. Now, if I'm just to play F, it's just going to play the sample that's on the track, because first we have to hold shift. And the punch-in effect will last as long as we're holding shift. So the first punch-in effect is called duck. It's going to completely mute whatever track we're on here. So we can hear there's no kick drum anymore. And again, remember, this first octave here from this F to this E is only affecting the track that we're on. F sharp is going to do a filter sweep. Not very noticeable, but pretty cool still. G is just called loop 1. G sharp is stereo. A is called loop 2. As you can tell, it's going much faster, twice as fast as loop 1. B flat is called pitch. It's going to drop the whole track down an octave. B natural is called follow / echo. Don't really know what it does, but it's cool. C is ramp up / fill 1. You can hear the bass drum track getting higher in pitch and then resets. That was pretty cool. C sharp is called short. Seems like it kind of cuts off some of the release of the sample and maybe adds a little delay. D is ramp down / fill 2. So it's going to do the opposite of ramp up / fill 1. D sharp is called long. Not exactly sure what that's doing, but it's kind of interesting. And then E is called random. And what that's going to do is it's going to draw from any of the samples that are on our current track here. So in this case, since we were on bank 1 of the kick drum track, it's going to draw from any of these samples in bank 1. And of course, you can combine PunchIn Effects as well, so we can go random, down an octave, and a filter suite. Now that's all fun, but it gets even more exciting when we start applying it to all tracks. So for that, hold Shift. Now we're going to start right here. The same exact effects apply. So this is duck, for instance. This is still random. G is still loop. This still drops everything an octave. You can hear that gets pretty wild when you start combining them. And the cool thing is, because we're just adding them temporarily with Shift held down, we can just release Shift and it'll go back to the normal pattern. Now you can record your PunchIn effects this way in real time, just like you would anything else. So you can arm your track for record. As long as your record button's flashing, you can hold Shift and put them in there. I'm not gonna, because I kind of like using PunchIn effects as effects, not permanently in the track. I don't know, that's one way the OPZ differs, I think, from the pocket operators, is a lot of times I'll write PunchIn effects into patterns on the pocket operators, but not so much on the OPZ. Probably because you can just skip straight to the performance track and apply them all so easily. So I thought I would make this video because some folks have asked me, is there a way to apply a PunchIn effect just to a specific track? And yes, there is. You just have to be on that specific track and then use the first octave of PunchIn effects. So let's go ahead and put a cymbal track in here and go ahead and mess with it. That's pretty good. Quantize it a little. I'm going to make sure record mode is off. Hold Shift. Let's go. You can have some real fun with that. Let's hold random on the last one here and randomly affect all of our tracks. And of course, D then becomes fill 2. So let's hold C, and there's fill 1. Awesome. So much fun. So I switched to the kick drum track there and muted it. Let's go to the snare drum track and just randomize that. So we want the lower octave and this E. So we can mute the snare drum track right now by using the F on the first track, or the first octave there, and then holding random for the remaining 2 tracks. We can do that with all the punch-in effects. So we could drop the octave of the snare drum, we still affect random on all the other tracks. So there's a lot you can do. And of course, this was just with the percussion tracks. So if we did go to the master track, we could still affect all of the tracks as well as just the synth or the percussion. And of course, all you got to do that is just hold the same key in both octaves, and then you'll affect the percussion and the synth tracks. But remember, as long as you are using the shift function to access your performance tracks, this first octave is just the track that you are currently on, and then the second octave isn't all tracks, it's just all tracks in your group, and the groups can either be percussion or synth. So it all depends on if you're in one of these 4 or one of these 4. Aside from that, have at it. PunchIn Effects are amazing, and I feel they're super underused on the OPZ. I mean, come on, they've got their own track. Just use them, they're fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and leave a like on it. If not, you can leave a dislike. That's okay too. Either way, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Thanks for being here. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.